Is life really just one big simulation? So, how do we really know that we're not living in the Matrix? What if this life on Earth is just one big elaborate scheme by some higher intelligence? Well, in today's video, I'm going to try to answer that question and a couple more. This video's whole theme is going to be about your brain and dreams and simulations. Is it all really real, or does it just exist only in our minds? Or is it some sort of higher being that decides what we do and what we think about? So the Matrix question is very difficult. I'm going to have to think about it for a little bit. We got a couple of warm-up questions before we get into the main big question. Are we living in a simulation? Starting with, what do dreams mean? So in order to say what dreams mean, I think I'm going to have to start by saying, well, what is a dream and when does a dream happen? Well, dreams happen whenever a brain reaches the REM sleep, or rapid eye movement. During REM sleep, this is when your body is at its deepest rest, but your brain is actually at its most active. So like I said, REM stands for rapid eye movement. So your eyes start looking all around in your sleep, but your muscles almost become entirely paralyzed, perfectly relaxed. You basically can't move them. Even though your body is almost entirely paralyzed, your brain is actually starting to work quite a bit, even though you're unconscious and you're sleeping. So we know when dreams occur, but why do dreams occur? Well, to me, I believe that dreams are pretty much just your brain, or more specifically your subconscious brain, recalling things that it's seen throughout your life or throughout the day or the week or the month or whatever. Dreams are usually just images that we've seen throughout our lives, maybe in a movie, or maybe a real place that we've actually been. Maybe it's people from TV shows or movies, like I said, or maybe it's people that you've actually met. But usually a lot of the things inside of a dream are things that we've seen before that have just been kind of repressed and not really thought about, but they're still hanging out in our brains. A dream is basically just your subconscious brain recalling things that it's seen before. So when you're dreaming, your brain is working to remember things even though you're still unconscious. Your brain and your subconscious are rifling through all of your memories or things that you've seen or things that you think about, and it's recalling them and just displaying it inside of your mind TV or whatever you want to call it. Usually the places and the people inside of your dreams are things that you've seen before and things that are very normal. But usually the part that changes is the circumstances, the things that are happening in the dream. Dreams, of course, have a lot of variation. I mean, you could have a bunch of different dreams, whether they be, dreams where you're just doing your regular daily activities. They could be dreams where something weird is happening, like Muppets are chasing you and you're trying to run away and not die, or, of course, they vary extremely in weirdness and in normalness and in badness and in goodness. But the thing that is always constant is a dream is either good or bad. Just based on those two things alone, I think we can answer the question of what do dreams mean. So if you're having a good dream or a sweet dream, I believe that that is your brain inwardly expressing your wishes or your desires and just playing them out inside of your head to try to, make you feel good. And if you have bad dreams or nightmares, that's your brain expressing how you're scared of things, your fears, and things that you don't want to happen. So nightmares are kind of your brain's way of trying to protect you. Like, hey, we don't want these things to happen, so avoid this situation, or avoid these people, or avoid this scenario, Things that we don't want to happen, our brain gives us nightmares as kind of like a wake-up call, like, hey, we don't want to do these things, so stay away. And when we have sweet dreams, it's our brain's way of trying to display what we want, and kind of another wake-up call, just in a different way. It's telling us to wake up. If you want your dreams, chase them. Do the things that you want to do. If you want this stuff to happen, make it happen. Your brain is trying to get you to do the things that you want to do and stay away from the things that you don't want to do. So what do dreams mean? Dreams mean that you're a human being. You have fears, you have worries, and you have things that you desire and wants. And your brain is just displaying that in all kinds of weird, unusual ways. But it's pretty conclusive. Dreams are either your inward desires or your inward fears. Now, piggybacking off that same idea, humans dream. We know that humans dream because everyone has dreams, but do animals dream? Well, it's been observed by multiple different universities that if an animal is able to go into REM sleep, rapid eye movement, just like humans do, that is when dreams occur. So if the animal can go into REM sleep, then the animal can dream. In fact, one study at MIT looked at rats, and I quote, "Rats were trained to run a maze while their brain activity was recorded. The recordings were repeated when the rats were asleep. The results showed that the recorded brain activities closely matched the recordings made while the rats were awake. In fact, the recordings were so similar that researchers knew what part of the maze the rats were dreaming about and whether they were dreaming about moving or resting." I think this is pretty incredible, but can I say conclusively that I know this stuff? Well, no, I've never personally observed a rat dreaming before. But if you are a dog owner, like I am and many of you others, have probably observed your dogs dreaming before. I've seen my dogs dreaming multiple times. Either they're growling or they're barking, or usually their legs are kind of making a running pattern as if they're running towards something or running away from something. So I can say with quite a bit of certainty, at least when it comes to dogs, that yes, animals do in fact dream. Now again, like I said, I'm not entirely sure, and there's not that much evidence towards, frogs being able to dream and snakes and stuff like that, but at least for me, I can say that with pretty much 100% certainty that dogs do dream. And if MIT says that rats dream, I mean, the evidence seems pretty clear to me. Most animals or mammals do dream. Next question, sticking with the dream theme, why can we remember the second we wake up, but we cannot remember the second we fall asleep? I'm pretty sure all of us has tried this before as a kid, or maybe not, maybe I'm just weird, but I would try to recall the second that I fell asleep. I would lay there, I would close my eyes, and I would just think really hard on focusing on the second that I fell asleep. And I remember every single time I would try, I would wake up and think, well, shoot, I missed it again. Let's try again tonight, So I was never actually able to recall the exact second that I fell asleep. As a 7-year-old, I couldn't really understand this kind of stuff, but now I think it has quite a simple answer. You could think about it like getting knocked out. If you get punched in the face and you get knocked out, you're unconscious. You don't remember. Sometimes you can remember getting hit, but sometimes you don't remember getting hit. But of course, you don't actually remember hitting the ground, and you don't remember laying there. You just remember either getting hit, and sometimes people don't even remember that, or you remember getting up, and sometimes people don't even remember that. You just remember maybe having a fight, and then you remember being awakened somehow, somewhere, at whatever time after you got knocked out. The reason you don't remember is because your brain kind of in an instant became unconscious, and now you have no ability to remember and to think and stuff like that. But as opposed to waking up, that is when your brain is actually becoming conscious again. And if your brain is conscious, that means that you're able to actually think and remember things. So 7-year-old me couldn't really wrap my little kid brain around it, but nowadays, it's pretty simple. When you're going to sleep, you can't remember anything because your brain is going unconscious. But when you wake up, you can remember stuff because your brain is now conscious. Pretty simple answer to a pretty interesting question that my little kid self asked myself, so I'm glad I'm able to answer it now, 10 years later. Alrighty, we're finally getting on to the final question of today's video. How do we know that we're not living in the Matrix? How do we know that life is not just a simulation held by some higher power? A lot of conspiracy theorists believe that this is held by some sort of alien intelligence or something that we are incapable of understanding as humans, and that we kind of will never know. My question to the people who actually believe this stuff is, if aliens were actually building this experiment on us humans, or life is just a simulation and it's all a joke and it's all created by some higher life form, why do you think that the aliens would give us the ability to think about this stuff? If they didn't want us to find out that we were living in a simulation, why would they give us the ability to think that we're living in a simulation? This is very similar to the theory that the Illuminati runs the world, and people say that if you fold a dollar bill in a specific way, you can see aliens, and you can see an Illuminati, and you can see this, and you can see that. But again, my question is, if the Illuminati didn't want us to find out that they ran the world, why would they leave us clues? That's like if you murdered someone. By the way, don't murder people. But that's like if you murdered someone and then left a couple of clues for the cops to come find you. It's like, it doesn't make any sense at all. So me, obviously, I don't believe that we live in a simulation. I believe that we live in a normal world created by God, and we are humans, and we are regular people that are able to think about these things and able to comprehend these things. And humans just come up with silly questions and come up with their own little silly ideas in their own heads about what's going on. It's a little bit silly, a little bit foolish to think, to actually believe this stuff like with your whole heart. But at the same time, I mean, we really can't know, so I guess the answer is technically it's plausible. Maybe we do live in a simulation. Maybe we do live in the Matrix. But me, personally, I don't believe it, guys. But with that being said, that's about the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that my questions were good enough for all of these answers.
Strike that. Reverse it. Thank you.
If you guys have any questions for me, put them in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer them as honestly as I possibly can in a future video. That's about it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.